Okay, this is going to be a very quick introduction to how to create a desert silhouette for the campus art project. So to begin, you'll need to download the Desert Silhouette Worksheet for Photographers. It's a Photoshop file that looks like this. And basically what it is the worksheet that the art students will be using where they draw in these spaces. And I have cut them out for you so that they are empty windows to be filled with photographs. Once you have it downloaded and it's open in Photoshop, you need to figure out what you're going to fill them with. So I have already searched and opened some pictures of desert plants and animals. You are welcome to photograph your own or use them from the internet as long as you do a Creative Commons search. If you can photograph them yourself, you'll have more creative control and they might be a little easier to edit, but what I'm going to show you is how to work with pictures from the internet. So I decided first I wanted a Joshua tree. So I searched Joshua tree and I wanted it labeled for reuse, and this was the one that I picked. So I'm going to go to view image. It's from Wikipedia, so it is huge. That is one nice thing about Wikipedia or Wikimedia is that they have a lot of images that are licensed for reuse and they're really big files, which means they're high quality. So you can only see the blue sky in this picture. That's okay, it's still a Joshua tree. I'm going to right click and copy it, go to my Photoshop file and paste it in. And it is huge. Now this layer says keep this layer on top, so I'm going to move that back up. And that is so that I can always see what my shapes look like in the rectangle here. I'm going to go back to my layer 1 and use the move tool to move it and stretch it to make it fit how I want. If you look at some of the directions here, the plants, clouds, animals, whatever, they need to connect to the edge of the rectangle because of how this is going to be cut out of metal. If things are just hanging out in space, they'll be easily broken or bent. So this Joshua tree is probably not big enough, so I'm going to hold shift and stretch it. Maybe something like that. And I want that one touching the top. You decide how it looks best, and when you're done, check it. Now I need to get rid of all of this background stuff so that I can make this into a silhouette. So now I'm going to turn off the worksheet layer, and I'm going to choose the right tool for the job here. I think the magic wand tool is going to be good because I'm going to select all the blues and erase them. So I'm going to click here in the blue sky. I'm going to make sure that contiguous is unchecked so it will get all the blues, even ones that are in these little gaps here. And when they're selected, I'm going to press delete on the keyboard. And I'm going to keep doing this until all the blue tones have been selected and deleted. Once it's done, Control D will make the blinking selection go away. You could zoom in close to make sure that it really is indeed erased. You can also take the eraser tool and go in and clean up any little stuff like this that you don't want kind of left over. Or maybe you don't want this edge. Actually, that's not going to show up. So if I turn it back on, that looks pretty good. Maybe you want the horizon to be lower. You could even go in and just erase some of that stuff on the ground there. Now to see it as a silhouette, I'm going to fill it with black. So I'm going to control click on this layer 1 so that it reselects the Joshua tree again, and I'm going to make a solid color layer in black. So basically what it did was it made a color fill layer and masked it so that it's applying to the Joshua tree. It's also filling in down here, but I'm not going to worry about that because that's a separate picture. Then I'm going to keep going because I need to fill in some of this space. It's pretty open. So the next thing I was going to add was a hummingbird perched on that Joshua tree. So I found this picture. I'm going to copy it and paste it in. Okay, and again, I'm going to be erasing that background. In this case, the background isn't really a solid color, so I think that instead of the magic wand, I'm going to use the quick selection tool. And I'm going to click on this hummingbird until I have a good selection of it. The beak is the hardest part because it's pretty tiny. I'm making my brush really small. Photoshop's pretty much understanding what I want to do. I'm going to hold Alt to kind of clean up and get rid of some of this extra. As long as it's pointy, since it is going to be a silhouette, it will work. So actually, I think that's pretty good. Maybe come down and get his tail here, his tail feathers. That looks pretty good. Okay, So I want to delete everything but him. So I'm going to invert my selection. You can do select invert or go to Control Shift I. So now I actually have a selection of everything but the hummingbird, and I'm going to press delete on the keyboard to delete it. So now there he is all by himself. Control D will deselect him, and I'm going to use the move tool to move and position him. He's obviously not the right size, so I'm going to shrink him down. Definitely want to be watching for overlap because it's going to make this look more natural. Maybe the hummingbird should touch the top, since we talked about things needing to touch the edges. And I'm going to check it. And then I need to make him a silhouette. So control click on his layer. He's reselected, and make a solid color layer filled with black. Now he's a silhouette too. Okay, I'm going to add one more element. And let's see, maybe this cactus. Okay, I'm going to copy it. Go down here, paste it in. Kind of a smaller file, so I'm going to have to hope that it doesn't give me like pixely jagged edges, but let's see. So in this picture, what's the best way to select the cactus? Well, we can try Magic Wand. That's a quicker way. Try to get rid of the blues. Delete. That worked, and then I have this leftover stuff up here that's not blue, it's green. So if I select it now, it's going to erase the cactus. I think that just the eraser tool at this point to kind of clean it up. And maybe I don't need all of this. I just want some of it to fill in that ground area. Okay, I'm going to move, position, stretch it, make it fit. I'm going to make this cactus touch the Joshua tree so that they can connect. And I'm trying to get it to be a good size here. Let's see how that looks. All right, control click to reselect it. Do a solid color layer, which will fill it with black. And at that point, if you feel like, oh, it's kind of blobby, like this is just too much empty space, maybe you can go back and erase something off of this layer, make it a smaller image, or take it off altogether. Maybe it just doesn't really work for this picture. Now I do have a bunch of black filled in here, and the vertical is for a wall hanging metal sculpture, and the horizontal one is for a bench. You can kind of see a picture of it here, where the back of the bench will be the desert silhouette. So I'll need to go in and erase this and put new images to make my bench design. So that is how you make a desert silhouette from photographs. Again, if you're going to shoot your own pictures, this might be easier. My best recommendation is to shoot them against a solid color, like a blue sky. If you're shooting a picture of a cactus, just get really low and shoot with the sky as the background. That makes it really, really easy to cut it out. Same thing for the Joshua tree. Just making sure that there aren't any buildings or anything in the background, and that usually means shooting from a low angle, will make it easy to cut out and assemble.